Hi folks, and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Racing Show here at RacePlazaMedia. My name is Pia, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about the Doctor, none other than 9-time Grand Prix World Champion winning motorcycle racer Valentino Rossi. He is still out there succeeding on the podium, not on a motorcycle anymore. So I wanted to share 6 fun facts with you, or 6 grouping of facts with you about Valentino Rossi, his life and his career. So let's just dive right into it. Let's start off with his career as a motorcycle racer. As you know, he's had many successes as a motorcycle rider, so I'm going to try to keep this as short and snappy as possible, but I do want to start at the beginning. So he was born in 1979 in Italy. His dad, Graziano Rossi, was also a motorcycle racer. He also rode with the number 46. And that's one of the reasons, apparently, why Valentino ended up riding with the number 46 and always had the 46 on his bike, even after winning and earning the world champion number 1 number on the bike. He always wanted to have the 46 on his bike, also because he has made it now his business, essentially. I mean, he's known with the 46. He has businesses with the number 46 on it, but we'll get into that a little bit later. So at a very young age, at the age of 3 actually, he started racing or riding on a mini moto as well as a go-kart. His mom encouraged him, or was maybe even forcing him and his dad a little bit more, to put him into karting because she thought it would be safer. However, knowing the perpetual need for speed in the Rossi family, his dad quickly changed the engine of the go-kart to a 100cc engine just to kick up the net level of speed a bit. And that upgrade was made as Valentino Rossi was only turning 5 years old. He then competed in karting championships. Eventually, he did get onto the mini moto again to compete in both karting and mini moto championships. However, due to the high cost of karting, the family decided to have Valentino Rossi solely or exclusively compete in mini moto. Now, jumping ahead, of course, there were lots of achievements throughout his younger years as well, lots of learning curves, of course, but just to keep this video as short and snappy as possible, I'll just point out a couple of his many historic wins. Of course, starting off in the 125cc category in 1997, he won his first championship in that category. Then in 1999, he won the 250cc World Championship, and then in 2000, he had moved up to the premier class. Back then it was still the 500cc, which he had won the world championship in 2001. And then his success, of course, continues. We have championships 2002, 2003 with Honda, and then he switched to Yamaha, where he also won the 2004, 2005 championship, with a little break until he continued his winning streak in 2008 as well as 2009. After his 2009 season with Yamaha, he ended up switching to Ducati, which followed 2 very unlucky winless seasons with the Ducati manufacturer. Then in 2013, he went back to Yamaha, and in 2014, 2015, and 2016, he ended up runner-up for the World Championship. Then in 2017 was his last career year where he had scored over 200 points and where he had also achieved his last overall victory of a race at the Dutch race in 2017. As we know, he has retired from the sport since 2021. However, as most of us know, he's definitely considered as one of the greatest motorcycle racers of all time. To summarize his career in numbers. So he debuted in 1996. He ended his career in 2021. So he had an overall total of 26 seasons that he raced, and he won an astonishing number of 9 world championships. If this is not enough for you, just to point out what an amazing motorcycle racer he was, and I mean still considered he is, in the 432 races that he has raced, he had a total of 65 poles, 235 podiums, and 115 victories. And that is including the 125cc category, the 250cc's, the 500cc, and then of course the MotoGP Premier class. Just to break this down even further, so in the top Premier class, he had won 7 world titles, 7 world championship titles. So, and then in the 125cc, out of those 30 races that he had raced, he ended up on the podium 15 times, and he won a total of 12 times. And then in the 250cc, he had also had a total of 30 races. He ended up on the podium 21 times, winning 14 races. I mean, this is absolutely incredible. And that's just, I mean, it's a big chunk of his career, of course, but his career has not ended yet. And we'll get into that in a little bit later of the video. But before we move on to his current career and other things that he has dabbled in, I wanted to point out a couple more things that happened or that he's been known for throughout his career. First off, I wanted to talk to you guys about his nicknames. Of course, nowadays he's mostly known as the Doctor. There's many different theories about why he's called the Doctor. The two main reasons, or the two main theories, are that one, there's a lot of Dr. Rossis in Italy. It's a very famous family name, and a lot of doctors that are called Rossi. So that was one of the reasons why they had called him that. But it's also because of his just touch and intuition and ingenuity with motorcycles, that he can assess them and make them work for him to win championships. And that still applies, and he even says nowadays people can still continue to call him the Doctor, because even as he continues racing in cars now, he is still able to teach other drivers, also younger drivers, how to be fast and competitive at his age. And he also points out it's also because, one, riders and drivers are true athletes, and two, you do have to nowadays start at a really young age to have the edge and also the training to be competitive later on in life. And Valentino Rossi is not just called the Doctor, but he actually does hold a doctor's title because the University of Urbino gave him an honorary degree. As mentioned, that's the title or the nickname that he's most famous for now. However, there's 2 other nicknames that I want to point out that stuck to him earlier in his career. First inspiration for one of his first nicknames was in 1994. He had watched a 500cc championship, and he noticed this long-haired Japanese rider called Norifumi Abe, and he immediately loved his riding style. So he was lovingly called, when he started 125cc championships, Rossifumi. However, that nickname didn't last too long, because shortly after, within a couple of years, he was given the nickname Valentinic in honor of Paperinik. Paperinik is the Italian name for the Duck Avenger, which is Donald Duck's alter ego in comics. However, since 2001, his go-to nickname has been the Doctor, just because it is referring to his mastery of riding, and especially since in 2001, the big winning streak happened. Not only was Valentino Rossi known for his nicknames, but also for his maybe a little bit eccentric or different types of celebrations. It started early on in 1997 when he was still competing in the 125cc category, where he ended up going onto the podium dressed up as Robin Hood with a bow and arrow. He was quickly very popular with the crowds with his just charm and charisma. Then in 1998, he introduced to the world Oswaldo the Chicken. He made jest of all the sponsorships that are in motorsport, that as soon as the riders stopped their bike, they had to switch caps with the sponsorships' names on them. So he created his own fake sponsor, Oswaldo the Chicken, where he actually sometimes even rode with a blow-up chicken doll during his penultimate lap to celebrate. There were many other fun celebrations that he did, including when he won his 7th world title. He had picked 7 people from his fan club, dressed them up as the 7 dwarves. Then there was a Snow White, so they had a little scene together celebrating his 7th world title, which I think is just a really funny idea. There was also another one where he had people dress up as bowling pins, where he had kind of bowled over the competition. That's what some people say what the interpretation of that win was essentially, or that celebration was. Then in 2009, for his 100 race win celebration, he had printed out a very long banner showing pictures of each and every single race win that he had achieved until that point, and I had rolled it out after winning his 100th race. However, he was not only just a little bit show-offy sometimes, but he also knew how to honor others. For example, when big motorcycle racers had passed away, or when he achieved milestones that overtook other motorcycle racers, he always honored their names and their legacy, either with a banner or a shirt or something along those lines, just to also respect where he has come from or how far he has come. And then, for example, also when he was competing in Argentina, he wore a Maradona jersey because he was such a fan of his and he wanted to give a shout out to Diego Maradona. Moving on from celebrating himself as well as others, Valentino Rossi decided to create its very own racing team and racing academy called Racing Team VR46. It all started in 2013. The idea behind it was to create and support riders from Italy, and then some of the big names that we now see in MotoGP have started or have come through Valentino Rossi's Racing Academy. None other than Pecco Bagnaia, 2-time world champion, competing now for his hopefully maybe 3rd consecutive win. Then there's also Bezzecchi, who's in it, Morbidelli, who was part of the Racing Academy. So there's a lot of big names that have come through Valentino Rossi's Racing Academy. Currently, Bezzecchi is still racing as part of the VR46 team. Currently, there's only a team in the MotoGP category. Previously, they also had a team in Moto3 as well as Moto2. Overall, his team, although it is still fairly young, has a lot of wins and even a driver championship to his name. In 2018, Moto2 crowned Pecco Bagnaia as their champion, and that was under the Racing Team VR46. The year prior to that, Pecco Bagnaia had won Rookie of the Year, also under the banner of VR46. The team also earned one team championship in 2020, also in Moto2, and that was with Bezzecchi as well as Valentino Rossi's half-brother. Now, I've already touched on it, but of course he moved on from motorcycle racing and he's dabbled in a bunch of other things. Even throughout his motorcycle career, Valentino Rossi always knew that he wanted to race cars. He was trying to figure out which different racing category would be fitting for him. He had even participated in several Formula One tests with Ferrari. The first one happened in 2006. He ended up producing the 9th fastest time out of 15 race car drivers, only 1 second behind the 3rd fastest Michael Schumacher at the time. And Michael Schumacher even said that Valentino Rossi would be fitting into a Formula One car very, very fast. He would be able to adapt to their style of racing very quickly, and he could see a career for Valentino in F1. However, Valentino decided he wasn't quite done with motorcycle racing, yet he did have a couple more F1 tests, even one to celebrate his 8th World Championship in 2008, where he competed another very successful test in a Ferrari with just 1.5 seconds behind Kimi Räikkönen. Stefano Domenicali, the team chef or the team principal at Ferrari at the time, even considered putting a 3rd Ferrari car on the grid and putting Valentino Rossi in it because he believed in him so much. Valentino, however, said he thought he would be too old once he's done with his MotoGP career to successfully compete in Formula One. He did switch rides one last time in December 2019 with Sir Lewis Hamilton, where Hamilton rode on a Yamaha that was identical to the 2019 MotoGP season Yamaha that Rossi was riding, and then Rossi drove in a 2017 F1 Mercedes. Another love of Valentino Rossi was also rallying. From a very young age, he was a fan of Colin McRae, and he even taught Valentino Rossi how to drive a rally car. So Valentino Rossi competed in many different rally events, including very successfully in several Monza rally shows. He also competed in Rally New Zealand, which is an event of the WRC, where he ended up coming in 11th out of 39 drivers. He always said that he really liked rallies. However, over the years, he's come to understand that GT3 is the category for him, just because it's also very similar speed-wise to what he's used to from MotoGP, since their lap times are very similar. But over the years, he also learned that for GT3s, it's not just all about the car, but also the environment. Like, who are your teammates? Especially if you're racing in endurance races, you need to get along with them, click with them, because it's very much a team sport and not like MotoGP, where things are solely focused on the rider. So since January 2022, he's now part of the Team WRT, competing in the GT World Challenge Europe Endurance Cup. He successfully competed with them thus far, at first in the Audi and now in the BMW. He even won his first race in Misano last year and successfully competed in the 2023 Road to Le Mans, so that he can compete in the 2024 24-hour Le Mans race. This year also, he's already landed on the podium. He ended up coming in second in the endurance race at Imola. So I'm pretty sure this is only the beginning for a successful career in endurance racing. If you want to watch his next race, it's coming up this weekend at the GT Challenge in Brands Hatch in the UK. For details about when you can watch it and where you can watch it, check out our website, RacePlazaMedia.com, where we'll have links to the series as well as links to streaming available for you. Now, however, if you want to relive Valentino Rossi's career or life until about 2016, you can also check out Valentino Rossi the game. He had launched a game in 2016 that was available for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, the computer, as well as for Mac, where you can follow his footsteps, his career in the career mode, or you can just race MotoGP, drift, R1M races, flat track, as well as rally, all in one singular game. It's still available for purchase today. It has somewhat mixed reviews, but if you're a true Valentino Rossi fan, I'm sure you would want to give it a try. And with that, that's all the information I wanted to share with you guys today about the doctor. If I missed any fun facts that you might have, let me know in the comments below. But with that, I will leave you guys for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys here tomorrow at the Daily Racing Show. Bye-bye.